Today, we're going to dive into a life-saving technology that isn't about some fancy new microchip, but about tapping into the simple, incredibly elegant rules that run every single cell inside our bodies. Just for a second, what if your body's natural cleaning system just shut down? All that waste would start building up and, well, things would get dangerous really, really fast. For millions of people, this isn't some thought experiment. It's their reality. But the solution is this absolutely brilliant piece of bioengineering that basically copies one of the most fundamental functions of life itself. So let's start with the problem itself. Our bodies have these master filters, our kidneys. What in the world happens when they just can't do their job anymore? Think about it. Our kidneys are working around the clock, 24/7, filtering our blood. When they fail, that whole process just stops, and toxic waste starts to build up. And that's exactly where dialysis comes in. It's this ingenious artificial process that takes over that critical life-or-death job. Okay, but that kind of makes you wonder, right? How can a machine, or even just some special fluid, pull off such a complex biological job? The answer, and this is the cool part, isn't in some supercomputer. It's in basic physics and the very nature of our cells. To really get how dialysis works, we have to zoom way, way in, down to the microscopic level, to meet the real hero of this story, the cell membrane. The easiest way to think of the cell membrane is as the ultimate bouncer. Its entire job is to control what gets in and what gets out, all while protecting the important machinery, the organelles, which are like the cell's tiny organs that are busy working away on the inside. And here's what's so amazing. This membrane isn't some stiff wall. Scientists call it a fluid mosaic model because it's actually more like a flexible, kind of oily bubble made of these molecules called phospholipids. And all through this bubble, you've got these proteins stuck in it that act like tiny gates and pumps. This whole unique structure, that's the key to everything. So how do things actually move across that membrane? Well, let's start with the easiest way, a process called passive transport, which, and this is the important part, needs absolutely zero energy from the cell. This is called diffusion. It's really just a fundamental rule of the universe. Things naturally move from where they're really crowded to where they're less crowded. They're just trying to find some balance. It's kind of like when you drop food coloring into a glass of water. Eventually, it just spreads out all on its own. This helps visualize it perfectly. Okay, imagine you have a ton of particles on one side of a wall with tiny holes in it. With no effort at all, they're just going to naturally spread out until the concentration is even on both sides. This simple, automatic process is the core principle behind how we clean waste from the blood during dialysis. All right, now let's talk about a special kind of diffusion called osmosis. This one is all about the movement of water. So picture a membrane that lets water pass through, but blocks bigger molecules like salt or sugar. Water will always move toward the side that has more stuff dissolved in it, almost like it's trying to dilute it and even things out. Have you ever sprinkled sugar on strawberries and then come back later to find this pool of syrup? That's osmosis in action. The big sugar molecules can't get into the fruit, so the water gets pulled out of the fruit to try and balance things out. This exact same idea is how doctors remove excess water from a patient's blood. But cells don't always just go with the flow. Sometimes they actually need to move things against the natural flow, from an area of low concentration to a high one. And to do that, the cell has to spend some energy. The difference is actually really simple. Passive transport is like floating downstream in a river, no effort needed. Active transport, that's like trying to paddle upstream. You have to work for it. And to do that work, the cell uses a special energy-carrying molecule called ATP. So basically, the cell burns up some ATP to power these tiny protein pumps in its membrane, and those pumps literally force molecules to go against their natural flow. Now, while this is absolutely vital for tons of body functions, dialysis cleverly relies only on the passive, no energy needed methods. Okay. Now it's time to put it all together. We've talked about diffusion and we've talked about osmosis. How do these simple passive processes become the engine for modern dialysis? With hemodialysis, your blood is actually pumped outside your body. It flows through a filter that has a special semi-permeable membrane. On the other side of that membrane is a super clean dialysis fluid. And because your blood has a high concentration of waste, those waste particles just naturally diffuse across the membrane into the clean fluid. That fluid gets tossed, and your clean blood is returned to your body. It's pure applied diffusion. Simple as that. Now, peritoneal dialysis is maybe even more amazing because it uses your own body as part of the machine. The dialysis fluid is put right into your abdominal cavity. The lining of your abdomen, it's called the peritoneum, acts as the natural semi-permeable membrane. Waste just diffuses from your blood into the fluid. And remember the strawberries? The fluid has sugar in it, which uses osmosis to pull all the excess water out of your blood. Then you just drain the fluid. It's diffusion and osmosis working together in perfect harmony. And once you really get these principles, you start seeing them everywhere. IV fluids have to be perfectly balanced so they don't accidentally damage our cells through osmosis. Organs waiting for transplant are kept in similar solutions. It's even the reason a plant wilts when it doesn't get enough water. This simple physics of how water moves is just fundamental to all life. It really makes you think, doesn't it? We've built this incredible, life-saving technology based on these simple, elegant rules of passive transport. It just leaves you with this fascinating question. What other profound secrets are just waiting for us to find them, hidden in the beautiful complexity of a single cell?